Alright, I'm going to try to start every day with a video. As far as my schedule goes, sometimes these videos take hours and hours to upload. Um, it's just the location that I'm at. I love being out here in the rural areas of Vermont, but it just so happens that right where my dad lives, he's behind a hill where the towers, between us and the towers, he's behind this hill. So if I go over that hill or around it a little bit, I get 4 or 5 bars. If I'm here at my dad's house, it goes down to 2 bars. So anyway, I'm going to start the day off with videos so I can watch them upload all day. Uh, I've got notes on Atlatl darts. Since we're on the topic of hafting Atlatl dart points, Clovis and whatnot. Um, Not all Clovises are Atlatl dart points. Just want to make that clear. But I am getting into the Atlatl dart point thing. I've got lots of notes, but they need to be refined. So I'll show you what I've got so far. Uh, there's some very good studies on basket maker 2 type Atlatl darts. Now they may be more refined than the usual types in the rest of the country. I shouldn't say usual types. Every region has variations. These may be more refined than others, or they might be representative of most darts. It's really hard to tell. The thing about these particular artifacts is that they're well preserved because they were found in dry caves. The humidity is perfect. Even though it's a cave, it is relatively dry in the desert, right? There is some humidity, but the conditions are great for preservation. Anyway, you don't find a lot of Atlatl dart stuff in other parts of the country because it's not conducive to preservation. But I do have notes from darts in other parts of the country. I'll go over those. All right. So Cramer Cave, Basket Maker 2. I've got a bunch of just notes scattered around here, and the reason why I say I need to refine these because I don't know what measurements I took. I've got pencil marks in here with different measurements, different weights. But the original is in red, right? For this particular one, it's Cramer Cave. Estimated Atlatl is 23.6 inches long. Okay. May or may not have finger loops, but it does have depressions in there for the fingers. It does have a little bit of a handle. I don't know the scale. I think this is from a broken. This is an estimated drawing from a broken or incomplete Atlatl, but it has a trench and a hook inside. It's a self Atlatl. That means it's all one piece of wood. They dig a trench here, like a groove, and then carve a little knock or a little spur in the top. Anyway, you can see if you look up Cramer Cave. Right, the darts, there's various darts that go along with this particular find. Overall inches, 63 inches, 59.5 to the bottom of the projectile point. The foreshaft on this one, 23.5 inches. All right, the shaft, the main shaft, is 36 inches from the knock up to where the foreshaft is inserted. This can range, but it looks like it's a 26.5 inch minimum length up to 30 inch average, 39 inch maximum. So they have several of these pieces that they've displayed for us to see, so I just took an average and stuff. All right, so the diameter down here, I was able to get a diameter here, I guess from the specimen, just by scaling it on the screen of the computer. I don't have the actual specimen, or I don't have access to actual specimen. These are all from the internet and from books. I have a book on basket maker darts. Anyway, 1.01, I think that's centimeter, not millimeter. Yeah. Diameter at the bottom here, 0.78 centimeters. So it tapers a lot down here. 0.13 centimeter deep knock. There's a 9.5-inch hafting area here. Now this might be two separate pieces sometimes. I gotta look into that. I don't think it's two separate pieces. Like this could be a possibility. Let's see. Now that's something else. Anyway, it is possible that they could also insert the fletching area into the main shaft and then insert a foreshaft at the other end. So for myself, I just put that note in there, scaled probably to the drawing on or the photograph on the internet. 60 grams total weight, which is 926 grains. I think the dart that I built was 1564 grains. Now I don't know what this, if this includes the dart point with the foreshaft or not. Probably not. This might just be the main shaft and the foreshaft, not the point added to it. But I don't know. That's why I got to refine these. I got to look that up. All right, the fulcrum. This is an important aspect. The balance point on this is 36.5% of the whole object. You take the overall dimension of 63 inches, multiply it by 36.5. You get some number of inches. That's how many inches are on the front of the balance point. So if you make one of these, the balance point should be right there. Okay, if the balance point is not there, that means your tip is too heavy or your tail is too heavy. Foreshafts made to heft the points are made from soft wood. That means if the self points, they're heavy wood. So there's differences in the foreshaft material depending on what it's used for. So I think you can see the other notes. I'm not quite sure what they are for. Yeah. All right. Next on the list is Basket Maker 2 Willow Darts Tularosa Cave. All right. There's a Tularosa Cave on this side and Cramer Cave on this side. The foreshaft dimension, I scaled it 5.12 inches. The diameter is 0.4 inches. Average. I took averages of their samples that they saw or they recorded and I saw on the internet. Shaft diameter 1.4 centimeters here. Socket diameter 1.1 centimeter. Let's see. Yeah, I'm just showing you where I am on this. Probably not doing you any favors by putting my finger in the way. See if I can grab something to point with. All right, so fulcrum 37 to 47% here. I think I got that from a book. Shaft diameter here 0.9 centimeter, 0.7 centimeter. So this tapers all the way down. So the fat part of the wood is up here. You'll get a natural taper if you put the fat end of the wood up here. Let's see, knock diameter 0.3 to 0.5 centimeter, knock depth 0.3 to 0.6 centimeter. Cramer Cave, it's a long foreshaft. So Cramer Cave, the foreshaft is 23.6 inches. It's the same basic design, just different proportions on the foreshaft and main shaft. All right. Justin Garnett has a book on this stuff, so you can look that up. Okay, average total length 143.5, 146.5, average weight 60 grams. Okay, that's where that comes from. Fragments, various notes on the fragments of the real ones. Estimated hole length 50 centimeters to 67.8 centimeters or 26.7 inches for the main shaft on that one. Whole hind shaft 9.45. This one does have a hind shaft in Cramer Cave, right? So it has a portion down here that's separate. 9.45 inches, and the diameters of the hind shaft what is this here? Knock depth, 0.13 centimeters. Okay. So just various notes. All right, so here we go on that. On the next thing, we're going to be looking at some stuff that's preserved in other areas of the country, which I think you might find interesting. I find this interesting here. I blew these up to full scale. All right. Let's see if I can do this. All right, Ozark Atlatls and Darts, Old Finds and New Interpretations PDF. Taylor and Francis Online, and this is the website. That's where I got this from. And what I did is I figured out from this scale what I need to do to blow this up to get these objects to be actual size compared to me, right? So these are actual size. All right, these are Atlatl dart points, and these are Atlatl dart foreshafts. There's one that has a tapered and slightly shouldered foreshaft. The other ones look like they're foreshafts that are broken off. This one might be a main shaft because you don't see any tapering on that one. It might just be the whole stick. I don't know. It looks like it might taper a little bit there, but you know, you have little nubs on here that have not been sanded flat, so there could be just nubs here, and it just has a little bit of a constriction in the natural material. Anyway, the hafting on these is usually pretty crude, even with very, very nice points. Now, I'm not saying these are very, very nice points, but the hafting is crude with either way. I've seen very, very nice points with crude hafting, and crude is what I mean is it's not perfectly smooth. I tend to do mine very, very smoothly and very, very thin, but my interpretation of hafting needs to change a little bit to make it more hefty, because I think that I'm hafting them too weakly. The hafting is way too thin, and the sinew that I use is way too thin. All right, so I'm going to be looking at these. Some of these have glue under the wrapping, some have glue over the wrapping, some have both. Why would you put glue over the wrapping? Obviously for waterproofing. If you're hunting in wet weather, or somehow you want to make sure you don't get moisture on the wrapping. You know, you could do that for hunting purposes too. You don't want the blood to soften the wrapping and lose your arrowhead. You know, if the Atlatl dart foreshaft with the point comes out of the wound, you want the whole thing. You don't want just pieces of it. So you try to preserve the whole thing by waterproofing the wrapping. That's my take. Okay, most of these hafting notches are V-shaped. Okay, this is a smaller blown up version. Now these yeah, I was going over these. Most of these are V-shaped and not the U-shaped where you break out the material. It's actually carved in there somehow with a V shape. On most of these that I've seen real artifacts, that's a V-shaped knock here. This one is a V-shape. This has a split. I think sometimes it just naturally splits over time where you cut the knock, although it may be intentionally split and then carved. I don't know. I'm going to assume that it naturally develops a crack all the way down over time. All right. So this is the actual scale. Big question is, how thick are these Atlatl dart foreshafts, regardless of the point type? These are different point types, okay? Or does it matter? Is it regardless, like I said, or does it matter? I don't know. I don't think it matters much. A lot of these are very similar in diameter. This is a little over ½ inch, or about 18 millimeter on that one. This one is, let's see, it's 7/16 or about 11 millimeter. This one is same, 7/16, 11 millimeter. And pretty much the same for that one too. All right, so these are the same diameter. What usually happens is the thicker diameter is up on top and it tapers down thinner. You can tell it right there on that one. That just makes it easier to haft and less carving when you have to put in this tang. Okay, most of the time it's thicker at the top than it is down here for the Atlatl dart foreshafts. Okay, and this is again Ozark Atlatls. Let's see, Atlatl darts. There's a confusion. A lot of people call the Atlatl darts Atlatls, but the thrower, the spear thrower or the dart thrower is the Atlatl. The dart is the dart. The dart foreshaft is the dart foreshaft. It's not an Atlatl foreshaft. It's an Atlatl dart foreshaft. It's one of my pet peeves. I hear that all the time, and I don't like hearing the dart called an Atlatl. So it's not the Atlatl. All right. Hardwood, dart and arrow foreshafts. Complete dart foreshaft A, dart foreshaft B, fragment, shoulder dart and arrow foreshaft. All right, so you can see the difference here. Did I blow this up? Yeah, this is full scale. I'm going to take some measurements. .10 millimeter or 1 centimeter. It's about 3/8, a little bit more than 3/8. This is 10.5 millimeters. It's more than a little bit more than 3/8. This one here. This one is actually 12 millimeter or almost a half inch. Now the arrow foreshaft is 6 millimeters or almost a quarter. It's not quite a quarter inch, and it tapers even thinner down here. Same rule applies. They're usually thicker up here, but this one seems to be barrel shaped, which means it's thickest here, just above the insertion point for the tang. Some of these have very short tangs, which means you only have a little bit of a hafting area for the foreshaft. This one's broken off, so you can't really tell. This one could be about that long. Let's just round it up to an inch. Okay, I think an inch would be the minimum. It's probably inserted further than that, but you know what I'm getting at. This is 1.5 inches. Calipers are open to 1.5 inches right now, so that's about 1.5 inches. I guess that would be about 1.5 inches too, but use your discretion. There's other pieces. Now, where is this from? This is Pintwater Cave, Journal of California and Great Basin Anthropology. Full scale on these two. These are butch joints and decorative treatments. These all appear to be arrow, right? Arrow foreshafts. Anyway, you guys can take a screenshot and read that over, but this gives you an idea. All right, measuring actual artifacts, 11 millimeter. Is that 11 really? No. I don't know where I got 11 from. All right, that's 8. It's 8 right about there. This is a little bit, it's about 7, I guess. Yeah. 7. 8mm, just below the arrowhead, a little bit less than a 1/4 inch. A 1/4 inch is 4/16, which is 8/32, so 7/32 would probably be that measurement if I did that right. This one here, this one is 9 or 8.5mm, or right around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/16. Okay, so that kind of gives you an idea. I got a lot of notes. So what I'll be doing is trying to put together a bunch of drawings and probably publish the drawings. Okay, this comes from the Journal of California and Great Basin Anthropology. Here are the links and information and stuff. Okay, it goes into depth on these artifacts in that journal. Okay, so I collect this kind of stuff. I blow up the drawings to full scale so I can measure them, and then I start producing pieces. And sometimes I show what I make on video, sometimes I don't. Usually I don't, because it's too much prep, and to get it on video I have to post incomplete stuff because it's never completely complete to my satisfaction. Anyway, I'll work on that. Now that the YouTube channel is doing well, and maybe I can monetize, maybe I can get some good revenue from it. It gives me more time to work on this kind of stuff. Alright, so we got, where's this from? Where do I get this information? I don't know. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff on the internet if you just do the searches. If you don't do the searches, that's what my channel is going to be for. One of the reasons, so I can give you some of this information. And then I could probably publish them once I refine it and figure out where I got all the information. Sorry, no coloring this time. Okay, that's it.